Yo, back once again with another video, man. Yes, this is going to be another movie review. You already know what I'm about to review if you haven't read the title already. That's right, I am going to be reviewing Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Just got out the theater not too long ago, and I'm here to give my thoughts. Now, when it comes to Mission Impossible, I am a newbie when it comes to this franchise. This is actually my first Mission Impossible movie that I saw. You know, I did try to watch the first one a couple of days ago, but I haven't gotten around to watching the full movie of the first Mission Impossible, so I still have to catch up with that. But overall, when it comes to like this franchise, I am quite new, so I don't really know any of the characters other than Tom Cruise character because it's Tom Cruise, you know, and I know Vin Rames is in it, but other than those two guys, I'm not really familiar with the lore. I'm not really familiar with, you know, Tom Cruise's character, which is Ethan Hunt. You know, I'm not really familiar with his backstory. I do know a little bit more about his backstory now because that is fleshed upon in this movie, but overall, I am a newbie when it comes to Mission Impossible. And, you know, I always hear good things about, you know, Mission Impossible overall. You know, it has a lot of fans. You know, when you talk to Mission Impossible fans, you're saying, hey, man, I'm a newbie when it comes to Mission Impossible, man. Where do I start? Like, where do I catch up at? And one thing that I noticed with a lot of Mission Impossible fans, they always say to skip Mission Impossible 2. Like, is Mission Impossible 2 that bad? Yo, Mission Impossible has Mission Impossible fans. Y'all let me know in the comments. But yeah, man, it seems like Mission Impossible 2 is like the black sheep of this film franchise. You know, everybody would say, yeah, watch all the other ones, but just skip 2. I just find that quite funny. But anyway, man, you know, this being my first like Mission Impossible full experience, I gotta say I quite enjoyed it a lot. This movie is very solid. It is a very solid film. It deserves all the praise that it's getting right now. I think right now on Rotten Tomatoes at almost 100%. If I'm not mistaken, I need to check it again. But from the last time that I saw, it was close to like 100%. And, you know, I think it's well deserved, man. This is a solid movie. You know, when it comes to, you know, some of blockbusters of this year, is probably the best summer film right now. And I know that's saying a lot, but it is a solid film. This is a great franchise. So I guess you can't be that surprised, right? So, you know, overall, man, one of the things that I do like about this movie is actually the villain. Because while, yes, there is your typical bad guy villain, you know, who's up to no good, you know what I mean? The real villain of this movie is actually not even a being. It's not even a human being. It's actually just an entity. And that's what they call it. You know, it's this AI technology that could corrupt, you know, computer systems and take over, you know, internet securities and stuff like that. So it is a big threat to the world because, you know, it could corrupt data and it could take over, you know, technology to where it's actually, it's like a mind, you know what I mean? It's actually like this God figure, but it's not an actual human. It's technology, it's AI, you know what I mean? It's something that you really can't see. It's in the shadows. So I think that's what I like about this movie the most, because it's not your typical ordinary villain. Yes, there is like I guess you could say an underboss who is like the, you know, one of the main bad guys in the film who's actually like a human being, but the real threat here is actually just technology. You know, it's something that you can't see. And that whole mystery, I think, adds a little bit more intrigue to this film. And one of the other things that I do like about this film is this movie, and with Mission Impossible overall, like, to me, it just has like this video game vibe of like spy thriller action. And I really feel that when I'm watching this movie, and when I saw like the first 20 minutes of the first Mission Impossible movie, especially with the first Mission Impossible, I gotta say that, like, when I first watched like that opening scene of like the first Mission Impossible film, I'm like, yo, this reminds me of like, I don't know, it reminds me like a James Bond video game, like GoldenEye or some shit. Like, that's what it reminded me of when I'm watching. I'm like, even with the dialogue and, you know, how it was shot and stuff like that, I'm like, man, this would be perfect for a video game. Like, I could just see myself, like, sitting in front of a couch playing this Mission Impossible game and, you know, going through the cutscenes and listening to the dialogue. That's how it plays out, like, in this one, too. Like, to me, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it has, like, that video game sort of vibe. Because it presents itself like, okay, you have this mission, and you know, you have the CIA guy who's has like this recorded message for Ethan Hunt. He's like, okay, this is your mission. You're gonna go on this, and you're gonna do this. If you accept, this is what you got to do. And I kind of like that approach, man. I kind of like that. Okay, it's not any fluff. There's not anything before the main mission. You know what I mean? It's just, okay, you got this mission. You're going to lay out the objectives. You're going to lay out the main points. You're going to lay out, you know, what to look out for. And if you accept this mission, boom, go. Do what you got to do. I think I kind of like that. You know what I mean? It seems like it's just like cut to the chase. Like, just cut out all the fluff. Just cut to the chase of, okay, what am I here to do? I'm here to do this. You know, I guess you could compare it to like James Bond. But with James Bond, it's a lot more flashy. You know, it's exquisite, and you know, before they get to like the main, it's not really like presented as like this, to where it's like straight forward, cutthroat. You know what I mean? With James Bond, it's a little bit different. With this one, it's like, okay, you got this mission. Here's the objectives. Here's what you look out for. Okay, go. You know, and I kind of like that approach. So it kind of sounds weird of me explaining it in that way, but that's one of the things that I'm seeing with this franchise that I really kind of like. And it's easy to follow too. It's not, you know, because with stuff like this, like with Mission Impossible and stuff like that, you know, when you're dealing with spy stuff and you're dealing with a film franchise, it's like 7 films deep. You know, it could get kind of convoluted, could get, you know, complex and stuff like that. But they really don't do that here. Like, you could just jump into this one. If this is your first one that you're seeing or going to see, you could just jump into this and not feel lost. It doesn't rely on prior films in order for you to get everything. And that's the other thing that I like about this movie too. To a certain extent, I will say that, because there are quite a few flashback scenes in this, it seems like, because one of the main villains in this movie, which is Gabriel, I'm assuming that he was in prior Mission Impossible films, because it does look like in this movie, when you watch it, there are a few flashback scenes with Gabriel, and it seems like he was a part of the IMF at one point. But he kind of like went rogue a little bit, kind of turned bad. I may have to watch the other Mission Impossibles to get like the full understanding of his character, if his character was in other Mission Impossible films. I'm assuming that's the case, you know what I mean? Because that's how it's presented in this film. Like, he is a part, like a key to this franchise. He actually was a main reason why Ethan Hunt became Ethan Hunt, it seems like. Kind of seems like he was like a mentor figure to Ethan in the past. So it's like I said, you could watch this film and not watch the other films and still get what's going on, but there is few details here and there to where you're kind of gonna be lost if this is your first film that you're seeing. Because with me, I was kind of lost a little bit with some of the details in this movie, to where I'm like, okay, since I had never watched the other Mission Impossible movies, I'm like, okay, I don't know, like, who's this character and how does he tie into Ethan and the IMF? I don't really get the full gist of this particular key plot point here. So, like I said, I may have to do a little bit of research and do a little bit of homework and go back and watch the prior Mission Impossible films to get a better understanding of certain characters and certain things that happen within this movie. Because, like I said before, there are certain scenes to where it kind of ties back to, you know, older stuff in this franchise. And the action is really good here too. There's a scene in the beginning of this movie where it's like a shootout scene in the desert, like in the Arabian desert, and there's no music, and it's just like they're fighting in the middle of this like big ass desert storm. And that, like I said, that whole scene is dope. And going back to what I said before about the video game aspect, like when I watched that scene, it's like, damn, if I was playing this in a video game, it would probably be one of my favorite parts of this video game that I'm experiencing. That's how it plays out to me. So yeah, going back to the whole video game thing, like this, I just feel like Mission Impossible works perfect for a video game. You know what I mean? And I don't know why they haven't done that yet. But yeah, man, overall, it's a solid movie. The only gripe that I have with this movie is the runtime, because the runtime is almost 3 hours long. I feel like that's a little bit too long. If they were to cut 10 to 20 minutes, I really feel like it would have made the film a little bit better. But, you know, I can't complain too much, man. It's a really solid movie. If you're looking for a good summer blockbuster film, this one is it. You know, this is definitely it. I think you're going to have a good time. Grab some popcorn, sit in the middle row of the movie theater and just have a ball, man. This is one of those movies to where you want to go to the theater and experience this, man. It is a good movie. So I'm glad that I saw it. I'm glad that this was like my first introduction to like Mission Impossible. And, you know, it makes me want to go back and watch the older Mission Impossible movies. And I may review those at some point. But yeah, man, I think those are my thoughts overall about this movie, man. Like I said before, a solid movie, and it deserves all the praise that it's getting right now. So with that being said, man, I'm gonna draw this review to a close, and till my next one, man, I'm out.